Hi folks, my name is Mark. I'm the Program Director of the Bachelor of Commerce and the Bachelor of Accounting at the University of Canberra. This presentation is for Open Day, Semester 2 2020. I will outline some of the things you can expect to experience if you undertake these courses, and also try to map out some of the major features of these courses. Okay, first of all, I'd like to conduct the acknowledgement of the country. The University of Canberra acknowledges the Ngunnawal people, traditional custodians of the lands where Bruce Campus is situated. We wish to acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and contribution they make to the life of Canberra and the region. We also acknowledge all other First Nations people on whose land we gather. This presentation will cover the following courses. Now, everything that you see there in a bracket is the name of a major. So you'll see that the Bachelor of Commerce has 5 majors: a major in accounting, a major in finance and banking, a major in financial planning, a major in business economics, and a double major in accounting and finance for people who like the really technical stuff. We'll talk about the Bachelor of Accounting. Now, before I go any further, people often ask if there's a difference between the Bachelor of Commerce in Accounting and the Bachelor of Accounting. And the answer is no. They're identical, except for the names. Some people prefer a BCom, in brackets accounting, others prefer a B accounting, Bachelor of Accounting. It's entirely your call. There's no difference at all. Both of those programs are accredited by CPA Australia and the Chartered Accountants of Australia and New Zealand, CANS. Okay. No difference at all between those two. Right. Here's a little bit of a background about what you can expect and why you can expect the things I'm about to talk about. A few years ago, the university undertook a major review of all their programs, undergraduate and postgraduate. We really wanted to ensure that the programs that we were teaching and the courses, the units that we were teaching, would be current, up to date and relevant. Okay? What are the major themes in this renewal? And this renewal is called the curriculum renewal. One of the major themes in here was a much stronger focus on producing work-ready graduates. We developed something called the core major. And I'll talk about the different majors in a moment. But a major is 8 units. This particular major, the core major, has a strong emphasis on raising awareness of and developing professional skills required of graduates in the professional services sector. Okay. We have 4 dedicated units, essentially that could be described as behavioural units. Okay. The first of these units is called Professional Orientation in Commerce. Okay. This has a very strong focus on developing students' understanding of the behavioural skills required in professional services firms these days. This unit does not have any technical content in it. Okay. Why would we have a unit like this? Part of this unit is designed to help students transition from high school to university. Some of the students who are coming into university struggle with the transition from a fairly structured learning environment to a much less structured environment. So there's a whole series of behaviours that need to be learnt relating to that. We also want our students, to be thinking immediately of the skills that they need to develop a good career when they graduate. Going to university and getting a degree is good, but graduating from university with a HECS debt or some sort of debt and not having a degree or an employable degree or a good chance of getting a good career is not a good thing. Okay? So we really want our students to be aware of the behaviours they need to demonstrate and acquire in order to obtain a good career. Now, in one unit, we can't give you everything all the skills you need to pick up. But if we get students thinking about it and get them thinking about or recognising the relevance of these skills, we're on the right path. Why? Students often come to university and focus huge amount of attention on the technical skills, the law, the accounting techniques, the economics theories, HRM theories, whatever it is. Okay? And those things are important, but they're not enough to get you a job. Why would I say that? Have a think about why firms and businesses spend so much money on the recruitment process. Why do they not just employ students or graduates on the basis of their academic transcripts? This student completed these units and obtained these grades. Why do firms and businesses have interviews? Why do they spend so much time trying to understand the personality of the applicant? Because when you're in the workplace, you need to be able to integrate with people, help the business grow, okay? Resulting in satisfied customers, happy colleagues, all of that. Now, if you only focus on the technical skills and do not have the interpersonal skills, it's not going to go well for you, okay? So we're aware of that, and we're trying to address that real early in the piece. Now, in this core major, we have 2 professional practice units, Professional Practice 1 and Professional Practice 2. In these units, ideally students will obtain an internship. That would, for us, would be the gold standard. Now, some of you might be thinking, why does the university want students to get internships? Well, it's part of that whole idea of developing work-ready graduates. And if you think it's something unusual, have a look at what they do in Northern Europe, particularly countries like Germany, Central Europe perhaps. Okay? Over there, you'll do 2 years of your undergraduate studies at university. Then I believe you do the 3rd year as internship, a full year of internship. And not just a tick and flick internship, not just getting coffee for the boss, but a proper hands-on internship, evaluating for the student and for the employer. The final year, the student will come back to university and integrate their learnings with their experiences. Now, they do a full year on internships. We only offer 2 units. Okay? We still have a long way to go. Now, there are other models of education, we recognise that, but we think this one has a lot of attraction to it. Has a lot of attractive features. Okay. In this core major, we also have a capstone unit. And this is where we try to synthesise the learning experiences with their experiences from the workplace. Okay. Now, students at universities get most excited about the assessment, the exams, the assignments, and all the rest of it. I want to get you thinking about assessment from perhaps a different perspective. Okay. At university, in our courses anyway, the assessment tasks are designed to place students in situations where they can develop a range of critically important technical and professional skills. And the assessment tasks are designed to achieve 2 different aims. There's assessment of learning, the stuff you've been doing all your life, the mid-semester tests, the midterm tests, the final exams, those sorts of things. Have you learned, or can you demonstrate that you can master or use, apply these particular concepts in these situations? Assessment of learning. Assessment for learning is much more interesting and probably much more relevant for the workplace. This is your assignments, your presentations, those sorts of things. And what did I just say this is more or likely to be more relevant for the workplace? The technical skills that we will teach at university will very quickly become stale and outdated. If you think that's a bit of an overstatement, have a think about the speed and the speed the laws are changing in this country. The tax laws, family law, laws relating to human resource management, superannuation law, okay? In my particular space, which is accounting, the laws that relate to accounting, we call them accounting standards, these things are changing constantly. New rules are being introduced, old rules are being thrown out. Critical definitions are being totally rewritten. The stuff that I learned at university a couple of hundred years ago is unrecognisable from what I'm teaching today. So, why do we teach you the technical content? The technical content of itself is not particularly important. What's much more important is your ability to learn how to learn. You've learned how to be taught. Good on you, you got here. But when you hit the workplace, you need to be able to adapt to and help your businesses or firms adapt to change. There's a massive change going on at the moment with COVID. Okay? Before COVID, there were all sorts of changes going on, and they still are, with technology. Okay? There are also changes going on with wars, natural disasters, and changes in legislation. In other words, when you go to the workplace, you'll be dealing with a very turbulent environment. If you're able to learn how to learn and how to guide your or provide valuable advice to your clients and your colleagues, you'll be seriously valuable in the workplace. So the content that we're teaching you is not particularly important. The thing that we're teaching you that is important is your ability, it's your ability to learn how to learn and to help your colleagues and clients later on. Now, when you do the assignments, there'll be a focus on developing solutions for relevant problems. Often it'll be couched this way. A manager has a problem with something, students research the issues and develop appropriate solutions. These problems often require students to deal with incomplete and ambiguous information. And this is what often happens in the real world. If you want to get an example of this ambiguity in the real world, ask yourself this question. When will the COVID crisis finish? When will the people in Victoria, when will the Victorian economy get back to a strong basis? At this point, you'll say, well, I can't possibly tell that. It's incomplete. I don't know what's going to happen with the spread of the virus. I'm not sure what's going to pop up next. That's a real good example. Now, in my mind, that's a fairly high level ambiguity and dealing with incomplete information. But in the business world, you're always dealing with incomplete information. We're not really worried about what happened in the past. What we're really worried about is what will happen in the future. How do we protect ourselves from things in the future? How do we take opportunities? How do we find these opportunities? How do we get advantage of those things? Okay. There'll be a strong focus on developing professional skills in these assignments through making presentations. These will be live or recorded. Teamwork, negotiating with team members about workload allocations. You'll also need to deal with poorly performing team members. Now, a lot of students will come to university and say, it's not my fault if that team member didn't behave well. That's true, that person is responsible for their behaviour. But you are responsible for the performance of your team. If your team is not producing the goods they need to produce, okay, in the workplace, if this happens, if your team does not produce the goods, people get sacked. So what we'd like to do here is to put you in a situation where you can develop the skills to either help that person through the bad point or escalate the issue in a way that the manager is not embarrassed. The product is still delivered on time and the team meets their obligations. These are critically important skills we don't actually teach, but we put you in the environment repeatedly to develop these skills. What I say repeatedly, just about every unit in your course will have group assignments. Not every unit, but just about every unit. Every one of these assignments, group assignments, you will be exposed to the risk of a poorly performing team member. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to manage it? What's your personal growth going to be? What are your strategies going to be? Did the strategy that you used last semester work for the next semester? This will all be part of your learning experience. And it will be fascinating for you. At times it will be frustrating, but it's really valuable. Okay, folks. Now we'll talk about the overview of the general structure of the course. Please note the underline on general. Okay. We have the core major, which is 8 units. This is spread over 3 years. We have the specialised major, that would be accounting, economics, financial planning, whatever, spread over 3 years. And something called the breadth major, or electives, which is also spread over 3 years. Now please note, folks, generally you have 8 units of foundation major, 8 units of the specialised major, and 8 units of the breadth major or electives. There are 24 units there. Okay. And you need to complete those. Now, I've spoken already about the core major the foundation major. The core major in accounting, commerce and accounting, is to provide a cohesive and scaffolded stream of professional education units that will enable students to integrate theoretical learning with practice throughout their degrees through authentic real-world learning experiences. Okay. Now, when you're looking at the University of Canberra website and they're talking about credit points, in this particular case you'll see they're talking about 18 credit points. Each unit, generally, is worth 3 credit points. So if you look at that list there on the left-hand side of the screen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you have 6 units times 3 is 18 credit points. Okay. So you need to pass these 6 units. Okay. If you have a look at them, for a foundation major in commerce, these are fine. You've got management, economics, the capstone unit I just spoke about, statistics, professional orientation, the behavioural skills unit, and above that, business decision making. Students will also need to pass professional practice 1, which is an internship, or professional practice, and professional practice 2. If you can't get an internship, we have fallback units for you that you can take. Okay, so don't get stressed if you can't get an internship. As I said, it'd be better if you could, but if you can't, that's the way it is. Okay, the accounting program has 2 majors. Okay, be really careful here if you're doing accounting. One of these majors is 24 credit points. In other words, 8 units. 8 3s is 24. The other is a 33 credit point major, or 11 units. And the accredited major is a 33 credit point major. In other words, if you want to go and join CPA Australia, or the Chartered Accountants of Australia and New Zealand, they will only look at you if you've completed the 33 credit point major. Okay. Please be very, very careful. Now, please note, folks, if you take the specialist major in accounting, the 33 credit point major, the 11 unit major, you will only have 5 units of electives. Okay. You still need to complete 24 units. Okay. It's just that you'll have less electives to do that with. So these are the units in the accredited major, and I'll only talk about the accredited major because this is the one that 99.9% of accounting students take. If you have a look at it, you've got accounting systems and practices, management accounting, corporate accounting, business finance, accounting and decision support systems, that's essentially an IT unit. Okay. Contemporary issues in accounting, an accounting theory type unit, auditing, advanced management accounting, and then revenue law, business law, and law of business associations. Okay. Please note that accountants have a lot of law in their programs. When you think about the nature of what we're dealing with, we need it. Okay. Now, what I want to do here is just show you the sequencing for the accounting program, okay, of the big commerce and accounting. So the yellow highlight is the core major in commerce and accounting foundation, and the 11 units in the specialist major are underlined. The difference, or those that are not underlined, okay, are electives. So what I'm trying to show here, folks, is that the yellow units, the foundation major, are spread all the way through your program. Okay. Your specialist accounting major is also spread all the way through your program. And your electives are also spread all the way through your program. So you're doing three things in parallel at the same time. I need to emphasise this because students often think I need to do the foundation major, then the core major, and then the electives. Okay? It's not like that at all. You're doing three things at the same time. And the reason is you would not be able to get the depth of coverage if you did all your specialist major in 1 year. It just would not work. Okay? So that's the way it works here. In finance and banking major, okay, we've got the same sort of idea. The units are spread out all the way through. Now, if you have a look at the names of the units here, we've got financial institutions and markets, an introduction to an introductory unit for finance, risk management in financial institutions, okay, credit analysis and lending, business finance, econometrics, international finance, derivatives, investments and portfolio analysis. Okay. A fairly quantitative program. And good. If you want to work in the banking sector, risk management in financial institutions, and credit analysis and lending, okay, those are really good units for that. If you're wanting to do a more general sort of finance area, having units in your degree like econometrics, derivatives, investments and portfolio analysis, these are hardcore finance units. Now the reason you have the gaps in this particular table, folks, is that here you've got two breadth major units, so one would sit here, one would sit underneath it. Okay. Financial planning major. You may remember that last year there was a really big Royal Commission on financial services industry. Okay. As a result of that, the Commonwealth Government introduced a new regulator called FASEA, the Financial Advisors Standards Ethics Authority. Now, FASEA is the new accreditor for financial planning. Our program has been accredited by FASEA, okay, as meeting all their requirements. So if you take this, if you're into financial planning, our program is accredited and you'll be able to work in the industry. Okay. Again, you'll see those yellow units, which is where your foundation major is spread out, and then your technical major, specialist major. Again, you start off with financial institutions and markets, move into introduction to personal finance, then move into some of the law units. You'll have done business law, revenue law, okay, law financial services, advanced revenue law. If you're providing advice to people about how they're going to invest their money to set themselves up for their long-term retirement income, you really need to know law. Seriously, you need to know law. And this is the minimum set of law units you have to have. If you wanted to do more relevant law units, feel free to do them in your electives. Okay? Financial planning is an incredibly important function in society with an ageing population. People who practice in this industry really need to be up to speed with the laws. Okay? They also need to be up to speed with a whole range of specific legislation and products that relate to retirement income. So you'll see there's a dedicated unit on superannuation, retirement and estate planning. Okay. Okay, this is the double major in the Bachelor of Commerce, Accounting and Finance. If you look at that, there are no electives in this particular program. Okay. This is for the hardcore quant people. This is a good program, but I do not think it is appropriate for everyone. Why? When you're going out to work, if there's a concern about your communication skills, your ability to write clearly, to articulate, okay, your employers will be looking for electives that demonstrate you have those skills. So some sort of English, advanced English type units would look good in your academic transcript at that point. Okay, but this is a good program if you're really hardcore quantitative sort of person. Okay, business economics, same sort of idea in here. This time, the yellow highlight only picks up the units in the specialist major. So they've got money, employment and growth, public service, economics. Think about it. In this town, it's a huge issue. Okay? Industries and markets, international economics, econometrics, cost-benefit analysis, two very technical quantitative units, economic development and managing the economy. Okay? So that's for that, or people who want to do that sort of program course. That's a good course too. I won't do the Donald Trump thing. I won't say it's one of the best courses in the world, or it is the best course in the world. I probably shouldn't say that, should I? Okay. Double degrees. We have a double degree with the Bachelor of Commerce and the Bachelor of Law. Okay? And the Bachelor of Commerce with IT. Please note, if you're doing the accounting, you cannot do a double degree. Okay? Why? We simply don't have space. We simply do not have space. The 11 units and all the other stuff that we need to do that are outside the specialist major but are still required for accreditation, unfortunately blocks accounting students from doing double degrees. Okay, folks. That's enough from me. I think I've spoken way too long. Good luck. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact the course conveners or the people who are floating around who will be available to talk to you. I'll also be available on the day, so feel free to contact me through the communication channels that will be set up, and I look forward to having a chat to you. All the best. Bye, folks.